Doctor research team warns that daily COVID-19 cases nationwide could skyrocket to 7,000 per day by end March. The Health Department and the Food and Drug Administration do not see any reason to suspend the country's rollout of Astrazeneca vaccines. At least 3 European nations halted the use of the Oxford-made jab after reports of blood clot formation among some vaccinees. Metro Manila mayors have agreed to impose unified curfew hours starting March 15. And the families of slain activists in Calabarzon faced the media to recount the so-called Bloody Sunday. And the search for the next Chief Justice is on in the first ever online interview by the Judicial and Bar Council. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The Interior Department is urging local government units in Metro Manila to share contact tracers. In an interview with Radyo 5, Interior Undersecretary Epimaco Dinsing said this should help LGUs meet the standard of 1 contact tracer per 800 people as prescribed by the World Health Organization. Dinsing earlier said that only 4 localities in Metro Manila are in compliance with the 1:800 ratio.
Iko-quadrant natin para magtulungan sila, yung mga magkakatabing LGU, kung may kakulangan, di magtulong-tulong sila. Yun ang naisip kong strategy para tawag namin din sa management, canning the problem.
And the Metro Manila mayors unanimously agreed to impose a 2-week unified curfew beginning March 15. Police and soldiers will be deployed across the capital region to help enforce the curfew, which will be from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Essential workers are exempted from the policy. Metro Manila Council Chairperson and Parañaque City Mayor Edwin Olivares said it is upon the LGUs to impose fines and sanctions against violators. The resolution will be signed on Monday.
Nakapag-coordinate po kami sa ating kapulisan to our COP para po hindi lang po yung ating mga barangay tanod ang magmaman, meron tayong pulis na mismong make it a point na ito pong curfew na ito ay ma-implement.
The Health Department believes that government has improved its COVID-19 response a year into the lockdown. Greg Gregorio with that story.
It has been exactly a year since President Duterte placed Metro Manila under lockdown amid the then rising number of COVID-19 cases in the country. At the time, there were already 609 cases. From a little over 600 cases, we now have more than 611,000 cases based on the Health Department's daily tracker. This is after a whopping 4,578 new COVID-19 cases on Friday. Despite this, the agency said the country has improved in its response. For example, from one COVID-19 laboratory at the start of the pandemic, we now have more than 200 licensed COVID-19 laboratories. We have also set up a referral network under the One Hospital Command System to avoid hospitals from being overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients. In terms of contact tracing, the Interior Department claimed we have more tracers than what we need. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said we have managed to keep a low case fatality rate.
Alam nyo, nung July at August na tumataas yung mga kaso, nagkakagulo po ang mga ospital natin. Pangatlo, nakikita natin na ang ating mga healthcare workers, mas sanay na sila at gamay na sila how to handle our COVID-19 cases. No? So if you would notice, we have maintained the case fatality rate to just 2% or a little above 2%.
Meanwhile, per the latest data, the Philippines has 118 B117 variant and 58 51351 variant cases. The DOH had earlier blamed the public's non-compliance to minimum health standards for the recent spike in cases. But according to the agency, there's no need to revert to an enhanced community quarantine for now. Instead, they have time and again reminded the public not to be complacent and continue adhering to health protocols. As for the vaccines, 1 million doses of Chinese-made CoronaVac is set to arrive this month, according to Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez Jr. The package will be the first that we actually procured. 117,000 Pfizer jabs and 4.5 million doses of Astrazeneca shots will also arrive from the COVAX facility starting April. Procurement for the third-party cold storage facilities for the vaccine is also ongoing. To date, 114,615 individuals have been vaccinated. 101,827 of them received Sinovac jabs, and 12,788 took AstraZeneca shots. 978 adverse events have been recorded. Most are common and mild, while 21 are severe. Despite reports of blood clotting among AstraZeneca vaccinated individuals in some European countries, Vergeres says there's no real reason yet to stop its use here.
Sinasabi nga ng ating mga eksperto at base na rin doon sa pag-aaral na ginawa ng European Medicines Authority, it is about a small number, more than 5 million people ang nagkaroon ng ganitong incident. So parang sinasabi nila, the benefit would still outweigh the risk.
She also explained the rollout has just begun after Senator Panfilo Lacson called out the government for its supposed slow inoculation. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Today, new COVID-19 cases surged to almost 4,600 for the first time since September last year. And that pushes the country's tally of infections to above 611,000, some 52,000 of which are still active. The virus killed 87 patients overnight, bringing the death toll to almost 12,700. Meanwhile, some 546,000 have recovered from the disease, with 272 new survivors today. The OCTA research group warns that daily cases nationwide could hit as high as 7,000 by the end of the month if this uptrend continues. This figure is about 1,000 cases higher than OCTA's initial projection of 6,000 daily cases at the end of March, which they released last month.
So we're basically ahead of the timeline by around 10 days. And when we looked at the projections, we revised it with a faster trajectory using a reproduction number of about 1.8. And this is more or less in line with what we're seeing.
We're pausing for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You are still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The families of Bloody Sunday victims face the media to share what they remember from the incidents. For the details, Justine Punsalang is reporting to us live from the city of Manila. Hi, Justine. What do the families have to say? Sean, the families of the activists involved in the simultaneous police raid over the weekend have almost the same narrative. They say at around 5 in the morning on Sunday, they heard noises outside their homes. When they looked outside, they saw a number of uniformed and heavily armed policemen surrounding their homes. But before they could open their doors to ask for their purpose, the police allegedly forced their way in. They announced that they have search warrants and told the residents to lie on their bellies as they started the search. Families recounted that the police were able to find guns and grenades from their homes, which they find impossible. Corcoran's son shares that his father, who is a government employee, would not keep guns and explosives. The families also denied the alleged involvement of the victims with the communist NPA. The Camp of Bayan Cavite chapter coordinator Manny Asuncion claims that authorities followed his movements because they were able to track Asuncion inside his office and not his home. They also slammed the inconsistencies in the police report as to how he was killed during the search operation. But what's more hurtful for the families is that authorities held the bodies of their loved ones for several days. They say the police stopped them from claiming the remains even after they settled the payment at the funeral home. The police allegedly reasoned that Tanay Mayor Rex Manuel Tanhuatco was supposed to pay for the fees and even went as far as asking the funeral home to return the payment made by the families. Sean, some of the bodies of the victims are now at the Philippine General Hospital for another autopsy. The families are currently asking for the public to give them privacy as they mourn for their loss. Sean?
Thank you for that update from the city of Manila. That was News 5's Justine Punsalang. In other news, the Judicial and Bar Council has interviewed 3 Supreme Court justices that are vying for top judge. The JBC screened Senior Associate Justice Estela Perlas Bernabe, Associate Justice Alexander Gesmundo, and Associate Justice Ramon Paul Hernando for the Chief Justice post. Among the issues tackled were SALANs, thorough examination needed in search warrants, and the slow justice system. After the public interview, the council will draw up a shortlist to be submitted to the president, who has the appointing authority. And South Korea will be suspending defense exchanges and ban arms exports to Myanmar because of the military coup and violent suppression of protests in the Southeast Asian country. Seoul will also be limiting exports of other strategic items, reconsider development aid, and grant humanitarian exemptions for Myanmar nationals to allow them to stay in South Korea until the situation improves. According to data from the International Aid Transparency Initiative, the last defense exports from South Korea to Myanmar was made in 2019, but Seoul still spends millions of dollars for development projects in the Southeast Asian country. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Shawn Yao. We are One News.
In quarantine. 12 months of battling the coronavirus. 12 months of living in a new normal. This March 14, One News brings together the people who helped shape the way we lived in the year of pandemic. How have we managed? What we may have missed? Where are we headed? Some of the country's leading voices in the scientific and business communities face the nation as the Philippines balances public health and economy. Kumusta na ba tayo? A town hall in the time of pandemic. Moderated by Robbie Alampay and Cheryl Cosim. Join us live March 14, Sunday, We are One News.